Good morning, everyone. Welcome back for another round of Tech Tips. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about learning.com and using the inquiry lessons. And this is for our content core area teachers who just might want to add a lesson or a project as a way to reinforce some standards that they've already taught, as well as integrate some technology into their courses. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is navigate over to login.learning.com, and we're going to use the credentials that were sent to you by learning.com, assuming that someone created an account for you. You do have to make sure that you have the right district name here, and that comes from learning.com. So we're going to click login. And when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. Usually there's some news or information about upcoming uh, projects, contests, things like that. We're getting ready for a Codeathon, and then there's new events and usually some notices about trainings and newsletters and such. So the next thing you're going to do is you can go to My Classes, and we haven't created any yet. So you can go to My Classes, and it's very simple to create a class. You just come down here, and we're going to print test class and click create. So now I have a class, and I've got to make some decisions about some information in terms of what grade these kids are in. Do I want to track them? Am I going to force assignments and things like that? So you can set this information as you need to. This happens to be a 6th grade class. I'm not worried about printing certificates right now. We're going to leave the student tracking with yes. That just means that the kids need to be in there, each class, with an individual username and password. Assignment sequence, you'll want to leave that open. Otherwise, students will have to take the lessons in sequential order, and that's certainly not what you're after as a content teacher. You can set the minimum score to whatever you want. We'll set it to 70. Since you're only assigned in certain projects, it's probably not going to matter. But you might want to go ahead and just leave it there. And then the class and group commenting. This is if you want your students to be able to communicate. It's kind of like a Google Classroom inside of learning.com. If you're already using Google Classroom, you may just want to go ahead and turn that off. And we'll click Save Changes. So we've created our class, and then the next thing we're going to do is enroll students. All of the students for the junior high are in learning.com, but they are not necessarily in any particular class except for the technology classes. So you would have to go out and get those students. So again, we're looking at 6th grade. And it takes a few minutes, but sooner or later you get all your 6th graders there, and then it's just a matter of coming by here and clicking enroll. And if we want to put Aaron in this class, we would just click. And now Aaron Acevedo is in our class. So you have to make a decision here. You can have as many classes as you want. So do you want to split this up by periods? Or if you're only going to just use this for project purposes, do you want to put all your kids in one class and maybe just have them do 1 or 2 projects per year? So that's what it looks like in terms of setting up your classes. Let's go over and take a look at the actual curriculum and how easy that is to get to. So I'm just going to come over here to library, and I'm going to look by standard. And since you don't use this very often, the reason I'm showing you this way is I think it's just a lot easier if you have the students print out the assignments and then turn them into you, as opposed to trying to grade these things inside of learning.com, or you assigning a whole bunch of work to them for activities that are computer based. So when we do these activities, they may require a computer, but a student can use their own device at their house using the Google apps that we have, using Google Sheets, let's say, or a word processor or something like that. They don't necessarily have to be logged in to learning.com once they finally get the lesson. And sometimes you can just print those out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look by standard. So we're going to go to, we're going to look at the TEKS, and we're going to look at Math 2012, because 2013 and 2015 are 9 through 12. So we'll take a look at those. And so then when we get as a filter, we have 2012. We can look at it over here by grade level. And so I could come over here and type 6th grade. And then I could look at the 2012 adoption. And then I can search by actual TEK, okay, standard. If I click that, we can even come over here and break it down even further. I'm just going to pick one and click search. I don't know if we'll get anything for that particular one or not. So here you go. Here's about, I don't know, 9 or 10 activities based on 6.1c. And the AE stands for application exercise. Other things you might see over here is an L, which is a lesson. The P stands for projects. Those are the ones I really like. The way I think you'll probably want to use this is maybe at the end of each semester, you might assign a project for students to do, and then some kind of writing assignment that goes along with that project. But you're certainly welcome to use these activities also. Another way to use this search filter instead of doing it by standard is we can go all the way back to 6th grade, reset it, and then what we can do is we could search, say we just wanted to search just projects, and just for 6th grade. And then I'm going to click search. So it did not filter for just projects. It did filter for just my 6th graders here. Let me see if I can change that. There we go. Yep, project, 6th grade. We want English. It will do Spanish as well. And let's click search again. So I think I got them all is what happened. So these are all of the activities, because I have 3 pages of them here. So that's what happened. And then if I want to view them, we can certainly take a look at them. And you get an idea for what this looks like. This one is a spreadsheet program. It just talks about budgets, kind of a word problem. And basically it just talks about you have $95 left to spend, how will you spend it, and then set that up inside of a spreadsheet. And certainly if you wanted to assign that, you could come over here and just click assign. And you could come over here and just assign that to the whole class, or unassign. So the other way to use this filter is if you have an SBA or you have a group of kids, you've looked at your 3rd period classes, previous STAR scores, and they really struggled with, I don't know, 6.12a. Isn't that the measurement one maybe? Let's look at, 6.12. And represent numeric data graphically, including charting, plots, histograms. So we'll click 6.12a, we'll click search, and we get 3 activities and 1 lesson plan that is coordinated with that particular standard. So you could assign these as extra help for students. They can certainly work on these on their own. You could assign these as class projects, group projects, whatever you wanted to do. Now, the first thing that's going to happen when you assign these is kids are going to say, Miss, we don't have computers in here. I don't have a computer at home. We evaluated all of the kids K through 7 who are taking a Learning.com class, and we have over 80% of our students report that they have access to the internet at home. So are there some kids? There absolutely are. But there should be enough computers on the junior high that you can get 4 or 5 in your classroom, or you can send them to the library or something like that. A lot of these activities, they're pretty basic, but I don't know how easily they could be accomplished on a cell phone, because some of them require spreadsheets and things like that. Certainly, you don't have to require students to use Excel. Google Sheets works fine. My big cautionary tale to you is don't fall into the helpless hand raiser trap. They will come up with 100 different excuses why they can't do these projects, especially when it gets to specific skills like use the all sum feature to add up 4 columns at the bottom or something like that. And they may or may not have learned that skill in their Learning.com class, because we're still on the front end of our curriculum with a lot of these students. But there's always Google. You can always search it. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. There's tons of websites that will help. And of course, they can always join my Google Classroom, and I'll give you that code when we meet. So don't fall in. You don't have to be a computer expert or a spreadsheet expert, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in order to assign these classes. The elementary teachers have the rule, you have to ask 2 before you ask me, or 3 before you ask me. Certainly I would make them rely on each other. I would ask them if they have Googled it, have they searched for it. I would ask them, have you posted it in Mr. Martin's technology classroom? And then encourage them, once they do find out the answer, to share that in your Google Classroom. That's collaboration. That's part of what we're trying to teach students, is that the smartest person in the room is the room, or the smartest person in the group is the group. So sharing with a person how to do a skill is not the same thing as doing the work for that person. So don't be intimidated by what you don't know about technology. All right, so just a real quick brief video on how to filter for certain lessons that you might be looking for to support your regular core content. Certainly don't expect you to become computer teachers, but I would love for you to take advantage of the opportunity to integrate some technology and reinforce some of the skills that we're learning in technology by using these real-world problems, and certainly circling back and reteaching some of the skills that they're already struggling with in your course. And it just doesn't have to just be math. There's lessons here for all the core content areas. So good luck. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. You can always email me at dmartin@splendorisd.org. You can tweet at Dale E. Martin, and of course DaleMartinJr.com, which will have links to all of these videos pretty soon. We're in the process of uploading all those now. So thank you very much, and reach out if you have any questions.